Hi, thanks for stopping by Grains in Small Places. Now, several weeks or maybe even months ago, I shared with you an all-purpose flour blend that I like to use with fresh milled flour. However, that blend is not great for breads, sourdough, pizza dough, focaccia, rolls, things like that. So a lot of you sent in questions asking me what is my favorite bread flour combination. So I wanted to share that with you today. So let's get started. So that all-purpose flour blend that I really like to use, if you missed that video, I'll put a link to it down in the description box below. That way you can catch up on that. But that recipe is great for converting any of your recipes that you found online or family recipes, secret recipes, anything like that. You can generally use that blend. Sometimes needs adjusted a little bit, but you can use that blend for most things that aren't something where you need a gluten structure or that strong stretchy dough like you would for bread or pizza doughs, rolls and things like that. So I wanted to share with you my very favorite bread, I guess, flour recipe. So to make bread or anything where you need stretchy gluten dough, you're going to want to use mostly a hard wheat. You could use all hard white wheat or all hard red wheat, but I really like to throw in just a little bit of kamut or khorasan wheat. It's referred to by both names. Kamut is technically the brand name and khorasan is the type of wheat. So you could buy either or. They're both great. I've purchased both and they work the same. But I really like the taste that it gives. I also like the texture that it gives and the color. It gives it like a lighter, slightly yellow hue, and it just looks a little bit more like that traditional white bread, I guess. And so when you're transitioning from store-bought flour to this flour, I think that it makes it a little bit more like the flour you might be used to. And as far as texture, it just really, when I make my bread with all hard white wheat, as opposed to adding some of that kamut in, I find that it's just when I add the kamut in, it's just a little bit more easy to work with. It's stretchier, it's smoother, it kneads up better. So I just really find that it is like the perfect blend. Now, if you're not a fan of kamut or you don't have kamut, you could also use spelt. It'd be like my next my next choice underneath of the kamut, depending on the recipe. There are some recipes I prefer spelt in, like my quick breads, but that's something that you can also use, the all-purpose flour blend. Spelt and kamut oftentimes in my recipes are fairly interchangeable. So the percent I like to go with for yeast breads, sourdough breads, pizza doughs, any of those is generally an 80% hard white wheat or hard red wheat if you prefer that, and 20% kamut. So that I find is like the perfect blend. Too much kamut and you don't get that nice stretchy gluten, not enough kamut and you don't get the same benefit. Now, I do have a recipe for 100% kamut sandwich bread. It's a little bit denser and a little bit different than like your regular soft and squishy sandwich bread that I shared with you last week. If you're looking for that soft squishy sandwich bread, I can make sure to put a link to that video in the description box below. It's a little bit on recipe, but it's also a lot on technique and method. So I try to show you that, the process of it, what the dough looks like along the way, and I share a lot of my secrets, I guess, in that video. So I'll make sure to put a link to that one below as well. If you're somebody that really enjoys that hard red wheat, I also find that using half hard white, half hard red, and then a little bit of that kamut is an even more amazing flavor. It adds more depth. If you find most of my recipes, if you've watched me for a while, you know that I generally like to blend my grains. I very rarely will use just one kind of grain. I'm always putting something else in there. There are certain recipes that I'll use one, but all of my recipes generally will work with one kind if you want to. I just find it like levels it up just a little bit more to add that other grain that is mentioned. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Go ahead and try it out on your favorite bread recipes and see what you think. Do you like the kamut? Do you not like the kamut? Let me know down in the description box below. Thanks for hanging out with me today while I share with you my #1 top favorite bread flour recipe. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And thanks for stopping by Grains in Small Places. Goodbye.